Welcome to this explainer on a beautiful, downright audacious dream. We're talking about the white whale that obsessed Albert Einstein for the last 30 years of his life. The epic quest to prove that every single physical force in the universe is, deep down, the exact same thing.
Now imagine for a second, what if the gravity dropping an apple from a branch and the electromagnetism that's literally lighting up the screen you're looking at right now are actually the same phenomenon? Like just different facets of a single underlying diamond that we're only glimpsing at different energy levels. It sounds like pure sci-fi, I know, but this is hands down the deepest, most profound ambition in all of modern physics. So to really wrap our heads around this epic quest, we're going to lay out a bit of a roadmap. We'll introduce our cast of characters, the four fundamental forces, look at some historic early mergers, dive into the grand unified dream, face off against our final boss, which is gravity, and then look at exactly where this whole wild ride stands today. Okay, before we get too far, we need to completely redefine what a force actually is in the quantum world. Forget the simple push or pull you might remember from high school physics. Instead, I want you to picture two people standing on skateboards facing each other. If one person throws a really heavy medicine ball to the other, the recoil pushes them backward, right? And when the second person catches it, bam, they're pushed backward too. From a distance, it looks like they're mysteriously repelling each other. In physics, that medicine ball is what we call a force carrier, or a gauge boson.
All right, let's officially meet this cast of characters governing our reality.
And they definitely have distinct personalities. First up, we've got gravity. Think of it as the whisperer. It's astronomically weak and supposedly carried by this hypothetical graviton particle. Then electromagnetism, the messenger, carried by the photon running all of our light and electricity. Third is the strong force, or the enforcer. This one uses gluons to essentially lock atomic nuclei together with this bizarre, almost rubber band-like quark confinement. And finally, the weak force, the transformer. Carried by these incredibly heavy W and Z bosons, it literally has the power to transform particles into one another, which is the exact mechanism powering the nuclear fusion inside stars.
Now that we know who's who, let's look at the history of bringing them together.
This story really kicks into high gear back in the 1860s. James Clerk Maxwell had this absolutely shocking realization that electricity, magnetism, and even visible light were all the exact same phenomenon. Talk about a game changer. That planted a seed. Fast forward to the 1980s, and folks at CERN discovered the W and Z bosons, which confirmed the Nobel-winning idea that electromagnetism and the weak force were also once a single electroweak force. And then boom, 2012, we find the Higgs boson, which finally explained exactly how that split happened in the first place.
To really grasp how that split happened, you have to understand a concept called spontaneous symmetry breaking. Imagine a marble perfectly, precariously balanced right on the top tip of a sombrero hat. Up there, everything is perfectly symmetrical, but it's unstable. When it inevitably rolls down into the brim, that perfect symmetry is completely broken. As our early, unimaginably hot universe cooled down, the Higgs field did exactly this. It acted like that rolling marble, settling into a state that suddenly gave the W and Z bosons their massive weight, but somehow left the photon completely untouched and massless. So that sombrero rolling symmetry breaking, it gave us the incredibly famous standard model of particle physics. It's a massive achievement. It successfully groups electromagnetism, the weak force, and the strong force under one extremely elegant mathematical roof. But, and this is a big but, physicists kind of view it as an unfinished masterpiece. Why? Well, for one, the strong force still acts completely mathematically independent from the electroweak force. And more glaringly, the entire framework completely ignores gravity. Literally, gravity isn't even invited to the party.
Which brings us to the next massive ambition in physics. Enter the grand unified theories, or GUTS. The wild idea here is that if you go back to the extreme, unimaginable heat of the very early universe, the underlying coupling constants, basically the core strengths, of those three forces beautifully converge into a single unified point. It's like watching three separate roads merge into a single superhighway. This convergence has inspired some incredibly elegant math models, like SU5 or SO10, which could even explain cosmic mysteries like why neutrinos have mass, or predict wild things like cosmic strings.
But here's the catch. For these grand unified theories to actually be true, they demand one mind-bending consequence. The proton, the literal bedrock of all atomic matter, must eventually die. In our standard model, protons are perfectly stable. They're immortal.
But guts introduced these ultra-heavy messenger particles that would allow a seemingly immortal proton to spontaneously decay into lighter particles like a positron and a neutral pion. No more mortal protons.
But proving this? Well, we run into a monumental, absolutely staggering challenge of scale. 10 to the 34th power years. That right there is the current minimum estimated lifespan of a single proton. Let's put that into perspective. The entire universe has been around for about 13.8 billion years. This number is vastly, vastly longer than the universe has even existed. It's literally hard to even comprehend that much time.
So how do you catch something that takes that incredibly long? You use the swimming pool analogy. You obviously can't just put one single proton in a jar and stare at it waiting for it to die. So instead, you get an astronomically large swimming pool of protons. Scientists gather tens of thousands of tons of ultra-pure water, bury it deep underground to block out cosmic rays, surround it with hypersensitive light detectors, and just wait. They're hoping for a statistical anomaly, just watching patiently to catch the microscopic, telltale flash of light from one single proton dying out of trillions of trillions.
But even if we merge those three, we still have to face the absolute final boss of physics. Why is gravity such a stubborn holdout? Well, it's a catastrophic clash of frameworks. Quantum field theory, which handles the other three forces perfectly, operates on a fixed, rigid background stage of spacetime. But Einstein's general relativity, it says spacetime is dynamic. It curves, it warps, it's an active, flexible actor in the play. When you try to force the math of a fixed stage to mix with a curving, flexible stage, the equations just blow up. They literally break down into infinite, meaningless nonsense.
And this total mathematical meltdown sets up a theoretical battleground between our two best contenders. In one corner, we have string theory. It suggests that fundamental particles aren't dots, but tiny one-dimensional vibrating strings playing out across 11 dimensions. It naturally spits out a graviton, which is great, but it also comes with a messy landscape of 10 to the 500 power possible universes. In the other corner, loop quantum gravity. This theory throws out the background stage entirely and says space-time itself is quantized, chopped up into granular, discrete little chunks at the impossibly small Planck length.
You might be wondering, why do we even bother wrestling with math this punishingly difficult? Well, the drive here is deeply human. It's this ancient philosophical thirst to understand the ultimate nature of reality, combined with Occam's razor, this deep aesthetic craving for simplicity and elegance in our equations. Plus, we practically need it. Our current models just can't explain massive cosmic mysteries like dark matter, dark energy, or why there's so much more matter than antimatter.
So where does that leave us right now, in the real world?
Let's look at our immediate, tangible future. While the massive Super Kamiokande detector hasn't managed to catch a proton decaying just yet, scientists are not giving up. Its colossal successor, the Hyper Kamiokande, is physically being built under a mountain in Japan as we speak. This absolute behemoth will hold a staggering 258,000 tons of ultra-pure water. It's on track to kick off scientific operations in late 2027, and it is going to push our vision further into the microscopic unknown than humanity has ever gone before.
And so, as we count down to this colossal experiment powering on, we're left with the ultimate question. When Hyper Kamiokande comes online, will we finally capture that fleeting flash of a dying proton and prove once and for all that the forces of nature are truly one? Or does the universe have a completely different, totally unimaginable punchline waiting for us? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep looking up and keep wondering about the universe.